Hi, I'm Skyler Gubler, owner and master instructor of Red Rock Martial Arts, and this is my story. I started training when I was 12 years old. More on that later, a little backstory first. In 3rd grade, I was diagnosed with severe ADHD. I was on several different medications and I couldn't regulate my emotions, my behaviors, or my impulsivity or focus. This caused a lot of issues for me in school. My friends noticed that I was different. Kids in school noticed that I was different. They started treating me rude. They started bullying me. They started making fun of me and calling me names and calling me all this other stuff. My relationship with my parents was also bad because my mom and dad would want me to focus and just do the task that I was supposed to do. And I just didn't know how. So from 3rd grade to 7th grade, I was severely bullied to the point where I contemplated taking my own life because I was told I was worthless. And I didn't have any self-esteem, and that translated to me being bullied more. And I didn't believe in myself, or I didn't have any goals or ambitions because I just thought I was going to fail. So why should I even try? My friend at the start of 7th grade in September invited me to come to a month free of karate with him. I had wanted to do martial arts previous to this. I loved the Power Rangers. I loved the Ninja Turtles. I loved Batman and all those other things. And I wanted to be like those heroes. And I wanted to be strong enough that I could beat up all those bullies that were so mean to me. That's what I really wanted. And I remember my best friend, he came to me and he's like, hey, my karate instructor said we can bring a friend for a month free. And I remember I had asked my parents previous and they had said no. I remember that conversation, and I had a sleepover with that friend that weekend, the weekend before I started. And I brought it up to my mom. My mom just sort of brushed it off. I was like, hey mom, can I do karate? She's like, I was like, it's a month free. She's like, and I was like, please. And then I brought up all my argument and stuff like that. And then my dad came home from work and I asked him, and my mom and dad talked about it, and my dad kind of has a short fuse sometimes, and he was just like, just let him try the trial. He's going to quit anyway. So I know that my dad sounds like the bad guy in this, but honestly, like previous to this, I was not very successful in traditional team sports. So it was small for my size and I was uncoordinated. So I was really good in one aspect of the sport, which means like if I was playing basketball, I was so good at shooting the ball, but I could not run and dribble a ball to save my life. If I was playing flag football, I was so good at getting the ball, or the quarterback pulling the flags. I was so good on defense. But if you threw the ball at me, I was gonna drop it 90% of the time. And so what happened is obviously coaches had to make a decision. And because I wasn't a well-rounded player, I was put on the bench a lot of the game. And so because I was put on the bench a lot of the game, I got to watch my friends play the sport. And this is also very discouraging. You don't learn very much from being put on a bench and watching your friends play. And so I got discouraged and I would quit. Soccer and baseball, I was just kind of bad at all around, so I didn't really try them out very much at all. But traditional team sports just weren't my jam. I quit a lot, and so my dad had reason to believe that I would quit doing martial arts. Plus, again, as previously stated, I really struggled with focus. Like I struggled to pay attention in school, I struggled to listen to conversations, I struggled to think, and I remember taking so many different medications. And I remember they would make me mean, or they would make me super tired, or they would make me like wired, or just like something. Like it was just like, it was never the same. And I remember one time, in a particular rough day, I was being very like angry towards my mom, and my mom was obviously not having that. And she grabs my face and she goes, "Where's my little boy? Where's my Skyler? This isn't him." And I remember just crying and holding on to it, saying, "I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm doing this." And she just helped me. I legit didn't know. And that first class, so it was the weekend, and my dad convinced my mom to let me try it because I was just going to give up anyways. So flash forward to Monday, school is over. It was time for me to try my first karate class. I walk into the studio. I can remember the smell. It's this musty smell, kind of like because it was in a basement of Zion's Bake in Hurricane. And I remember this musty smell and all the yelling. And I got pulled aside by one of the instructors, and she showed me how to tie a belt. I got a white belt. I didn't have a uniform, but I got a white belt. Maybe I did have a uniform, I can't even remember. She showed me how to tie it. And then I was waiting for my class, and they're like, "Okay, this is Mr. Lindsay. He's going to be your teacher. You address him as sir. So if he asks you to do something, you say, 'Yes, sir.'" I was like, "Okay, I can remember that." So the first thing is like, "Line up." I was like, "Yes, sir." I said it like super loud, super excited. He's like, "Do 10 push-ups." "Yes, sir." "Do 10 jumps." He's like, "What?" "Yes, sir." And did it. And I was super excited. I was not very good. And I remember we were doing a target kicking drill. And he's like, "Kick the shield." And I'm kicking the shield, and I fell over because I had terrible balance, terrible coordination. And I thought, well, that's it. I just, 10 minutes into karate, I failed. And I'm just waiting for everybody to laugh at me. And I'm waiting for Mr. Lindsay to sit me down on the side because I wasn't good. But something happened. Mr. Lindsay picked me up off the ground. He said, "Keep going, you're doing great." And the other kids in class didn't laugh at me. They just said, "Hey man, we all fell over. You gotta just get back up and keep trying." And for the first time in my whole entire life and existence, I felt accepted. I was given a chance and an opportunity just to do something. I wasn't prejudged. I wasn't put on a bench. I wasn't told I wasn't good enough, because I had already believed all that stuff. I'd already been told that a lot of times. So I braced myself for that. And then it didn't happen. That moment literally changed my life. Now, I remember that month, I came home every single day, and I practiced so hard in my parents' basement. I practiced for hours, learning how to stand on one foot, learning how to do the kicks, trying to get stronger with my push-ups. But what I did, and then I also remembered that, they would talk about, how when you're focused and you think you can achieve goals, and how you need to do better in school. You need to use what you learn in martial arts in school to focus and pay attention, look at the teacher. And I was committed. I was like, know what? No matter what, even though it's really hard for me, I'm gonna look at the teacher. And I'm gonna come home right after school, and I'm gonna do my homework. And I never, ever, ever did that previously. Homework was I would fight you. I would fight not to do homework. And I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show my mom and dad that I wanna do martial arts full time. Because I know, well, I didn't understand and know, but I knew that my dad was just barely starting a new job. And I knew that things were financially tight. because we had gotten some help from the church and stuff with our family. I didn't obviously know the situation, but I did know that we were kind of on a strict family budget. And I knew martial arts lessons were expensive because the friend that invited me, he is pretty well off. And so, and I previously wanted to do martial arts when I was 7, but I was told that I was too young and we couldn't afford it. So I just approached that month, and I remember every class, and I loved every class, and I got better, and I earned some belt stripes on my belt. But I remember I was literally just scared of the end of September, because that meant no more martial arts. It meant no more training. And so my last class came, and I remember that class too. And I remember sitting outside, sitting kind of outside the studio as Mr. Lindsay and Mrs. Lindsay met with my parents to talk about me continuing my training. And I remember I couldn't hear the whole conversation, but I definitely knew that the price was scary for my parents. And turns out my parents saw my behavior change as well. They saw me trying harder. They saw me believing in myself. And they saw me change. You know, my grades had went from C's and D's to B's and A's. Maybe it was just for a month, but they saw the difference. I was being more respectful to them. And they talked to Mr. Lindsay, and they were like, Mr. Lindsay, we're on a very strict budget, and we don't know if we can afford tuition, but we will do whatever we can to keep Skyler in karate. He needs it in his life. We're scared if he doesn't have it. And Mr. Lindsay didn't have to, but did. Made an arrangement with my parents. And my parents did stuff like clean the studio and all that stuff. They did whatever they could to keep me training. That was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I started training, and it literally changed my life. I graduated high school with a 3.78 GPA. I didn't even know if I was going to make it to high school. I had already contemplated suicide several times. I can't even imagine what my life would be like if I didn't have martial arts. I literally can't even imagine. It's unfathomable. And I remember being 15 years old, and I was a blue belt, and I was helping Mr. Lindsay teach. And I just loved it so much. I loved how I could help and support these wonderful adults and kids that were lower belts than me. Those kids that fell over, I could go over and I could pick them up, and I could be like, hey, I get it. It's hard. I know you can do it. Do you believe me? Yes, sir. And they'd stand up and they'd do it. And I knew from 15 years old, I wanted to do that same thing. I wanted to encourage and inspire other people as well. I wanted to help them be their best. I wanted to open my own school. And so in 2010, I opened Red Rock Martial Arts. And I started it in that same basement of my parents' house, where I trained all the time growing up. I'm now a 4th Dan master in the World Tang Soo Do Association, and my school is large and established. I'm so very grateful for all the black belts I've had a chance to teach, for all the students in general, even the ones that didn't get to black belt. I got to help you learn to be your best self through martial arts training. I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful that I get to do that every single day. And I invite you to come learn how to make it rock with us at Red Rock Martial Arts. I will teach you life skills, self-defense, fitness, and I will help you become the best version of yourself. I will be your biggest fan and always be the one encouraging you and helping you and picking you up off the mat, because that's what my instructor did for me, and it changed my life. So I invite you to come try us out. Come see what it means to make it rock at Red Rock Martial Arts.